So today I'm going to be showing you very quickly how to do a bean stitch. Now you can see here that this is my full of beans blanket. I'll pop a link to the free pattern in the description if you're interested in checking it out. But you can see that I have used the bean stitch throughout this blanket to create that gorgeous texture that you see in there. So it is a useful stitch to have in your stitch arsenal. There are two things to remember for the bean stitch before we get stuck into it. The first is that you need a multiple of 2 stitches to work into if you're doing whole rows or rounds of the bean stitch in a project. Obviously if it's just accents here and there, then you don't. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to be aware of your tension. Tension is important for this stitch. So it might just take a little bit of practice for you. And what I would suggest if you're new to the stitch is to just work up a washcloth just using the bean stitch. This is a cotton yarn that I have in my stash that I've just worked it up with. But you can see here that this one, I've deliberately kept it loose. The tension wasn't quite right. So my bean stitch ends up with little loops that might get caught. So what you want is really to create, if I come in a little bit there for you, to create a nice tension so that your bean stitches end up nice and even rather than having these little funky bits that can get caught. So they're the two things to remember. So to work the bean stitch, obviously I'm working in rows here. If I come out just a smidge for you. So I'm working in rows for this tiny little sample I've got here. The first stitch, so I've chained 1 and turned. The first stitch is going to be a half double crochet in US terms, or a half treble if you're in the UK. So we're going to yarn over and set our hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through for 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on our hook, and that's our first stitch. So every row, when you're working in rows, will start and end with a half double crochet. If you're doing rounds, you will start with a bean stitch and end with a chain 1. So to get into the bean stitch for you, so this is worked in the next stitch, we're going to insert our hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through for 2 loops on our hook. Then we're going to wrap our yarn, we're going to insert our hook into that same stitch, wrap yarn and pull through. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. And then once more we're going to wrap our yarn, insert it into that same stitch, wrap our yarn and pull through. So now we have 6 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on our hook and then work a chain 1. Now with the bean stitch, the chain 1 here will count as a stitch in its own right. So we've just worked, as you can see from the top of the work, a bean stitch and a chain 1. Then we're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to work a bean stitch into the next stitch. So insert your hook into that next stitch to be worked, yarn over and pull through for 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and set your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, so now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over and pull through, so now you have 6 loops on your hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops, chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to repeat that process all the way along the row until you have 1 stitch remaining. So we've just chained 1, we're going to skip 1, then we'll work a bean stitch in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, bean stitch in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, bean stitch in the next stitch, chain 1, skip one, and then half double crochet in that final stitch of the row. So just super quickly, one more time, bean stitch. So I've done my chain one, we're going to skip one, we're going to insert our hook in that next stitch, yarn over, pull through for 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through. So now you have 4 loops on your hook. Once more, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through for 6 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your hook, chain one, skip one, bean stitch in the next stitch. And you would follow that process all the way along until you get to your final stitch of the row, which is here. So I've chained one, I skip one, and then in that final stitch I'm going to work a half double crochet or a half treble if you're in the UK. And that is how we work the bean stitch. You might find that it's thicker on one side than what it is on the other, but once you've done a couple of rows, it'll sort itself out and become more even. I do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. As I say, the free pattern for the Full of Beans baby blanket, which is in 5 sizes from size Lovey all the way to a standard throw, so it can be used for adults too, is in the description box. If you've enjoyed this tutorial today, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.